Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is another great and terrible morning here in Ohio for me. But that's personal stuff, and I'm not going to get into it. But it's been kind of a crappy few days, and it's just how it's going to be. So, welcome, welcome. You're sipping coffee with Spider, having some breakfast, getting your day going. And let's see what the news is like, huh? Let's take a look at the news. ABC News with an interesting story. Ozone hole over Antarctica grows to one of the largest on record, scientists say. Now, this isn't entirely a clear article because they go back and forth on these ozone layer holes. When I was a kid, they kept saying the hole in the ozone layer was really bad. It was just ridiculously awful. We're all going to burn to a crisp and everything, and we had to stop using styrofoam and all that sort of kind of stuff. So McDonald's had switched over from its size styrofoam containers over to the paper and the boxes and things. I remember distinctly when stuff like that happened. And then after a while, they said, "Oh yeah, no, the hole's regenerating, the ozone layer is regenerating itself, and the hole's closing, and it's taken a few years, and then we're good." And they said, "Oh yeah, it's because we cut out all that styrofoam." And now they say it's back. So I don't know. I kind of feel like there's more to that than what they like to tell people. It's not as simple as, "Oh, there's a hole there." You know what I mean? I think there's some other stuff going on. Associated Press: Fukushima nuclear plant starts second release of treated radioactive wastewater into the sea. Now, this has been pretty controversial. The nuclear plant had a meltdown some time ago, several years, and the town was evacuated, and it's only been in the last few years they've allowed people to go back there, and not everybody does because they're still picking up. You walk around with a Geiger counter that measures the radiation, and you can still find some pretty hefty pockets of radiation there. But some people are reluctant to give up the home that they had before they left. So, um, but they used seawater. They used seawater to cool off the reactor, or basically to stop it from having a more serious meltdown. And now they have to release that water, and they've released some of it out into the sea. And supposedly they say it's safe and everything else, but supposedly people were able to pick up increased radiation as far as California and in the ocean currents and things. So now they're going to release a second batch. And it's hard to say like whether there's going to be really long term um, ramifications to this or not. A lot of people claim that there is, that it's a bad idea, and Japan insists that it's safe. I don't know. It is something definitely to keep an eye on. They've even gone so far as to they have politicians there and people who work for the various energy companies and whatnot who've caught fish in the water around there after they've released it, and they've caught fish and then eaten fish and said, "Oh yeah, it's perfectly fine. We're fine. Look, it tastes fine. It's not making us sick. Everything's fine." So I don't know. I'm sure there's some propaganda involved with that, but it's something to keep an eye on. Comicbook.com, although they aren't the only people to hold the story, I'm sure. Emergency alert test causes everyone's phones to go off. And that's a thing for the United States. You probably noticed, you probably got a message on your phone that they were testing the national alert system, which is something they put into place. I don't know if it was an Obama thing. It might have been. It might have been an Obama thing, but it might have been before that. I don't remember for sure. Um, but they have this thing where they can send a signal to everybody's phones in the entire nation because they have deals with the cell phone companies, and in case there's a national emergency, like in case there's a nuclear disaster, like in Fukushima, or in case there's something else going on or whatever. So it's an interesting idea. It makes you wonder about them having all the phone numbers for everybody and how deep they are embedded with the cell phone companies that they're able to do that. You know, it is an interesting thing, but I don't know. Maybe it'll turn out to be something good. They didn't use it too much for the virus things from the last few years. I think because there was some outcry with that, maybe. But I'm interested to see what else they have going on. PC Mag with some bad gaming news for Nintendo fans. Nintendo turns off online services for the 3DS and the Wii U next year. So, if you've been getting games or if you've been doing multiplayer on those systems, you will no longer be able to as of next year, 2024. So, very unfortunate, but it does happen. It does happen. PBS NewsHour with a video that I did not watch, but it says, watch. Biden announces new student loan forgiveness for $125,000 as payments resume. And I'm curious to see if this one will go through, because every other attempt to do student loan forgiveness has failed up to this point. It's been overruled, it's been put a stop to, and people are having to make their payments again. So we'll see how it goes. I don't have to worry about it because I don't have student loan payments. I have other things going on that I have to pay in my life that are kind of out of control, but that's my own fault. So no forgiveness coming for me. But anyway. So we'll see how that goes. From phys.org, phys.org, life-size images of extinct camel species found carved into stones in Saudi Arabia, and that's cool. We're constantly finding new rock art from our ancestors in the distant past. In Saudi Arabia is a new one, I think. I don't know how much we found in that particular country over the many years. But it's interesting that our ancestors went out of their way to make life-size images of the creatures that they saw. And it makes you wonder what else they saw they might have been putting on there that we kind of dismiss as, oh, they didn't actually see this. Like sometimes you see big lizard-like creatures that are basically like dinosaurs. And say, oh, well, people weren't around with the dinosaurs. That's myth, blah, blah. But maybe they were. PBS NewsHour with more. A global Chinese disinformation initiative could threaten international security, U.S. officials warn. Yeah, probably. That's something that China's good at, pouring disinformation and misinformation into the internet, specifically flooding places like Google so that the topics come up as the most popular subject in the search bar when it's not the most accurate. Simply the most popular. So I don't use things like Google. And China's adept at doing stuff like that. They've got that. They've got Temu. They've got TikTok. All these different things to flood bad info across the internet and to make people dumber. So I don't find that to be out of the realm of possibility at all. Associated Press study finds more people are moving into high flood zones, increasing risk of water disasters. Now that's interesting. We already know that we have problems with people who live in places like New Orleans and other places that are floodplains and repeatedly continuing to build up no matter what, despite the disaster. And it seems like people are moving more into these areas. And I don't know if maybe that's because they're connected to larger bodies of water and they use that for commerce or what. I'm not sure. The study might explain that a little bit more in detail. I'm not going to pull open the article right here, but it's interesting. It's an interesting note to make. Maybe it's because the water levels are receding and people think, oh yeah, these areas, they're more fertile. They're because they had water in them and they don't so much anymore. And now they're safer, they're whatever, but then they still flood because they're still the way the land is. It's still conducive to holding water. So who knows? Those are just guesses on my part. HuffPost with some clickbait. Florida man accused of dousing McDonald's manager with hot coffee over 1 cent dispute, and I'm not surprised about that either. And in the list of things that I'm not surprised about, people get mad at restaurants over anything these days. If the fries are too cold, mad, guns come out. If the coffee's too hot, if this is too this, if this is too that, if you forgot something from the order, or if you've taken too long, or if you do somebody's meal for the drive-through first before you get somebody inside the restaurant or whatever, it's people are getting crazy about fast food, and over a penny, figures. Reuters paywalled, can't tell you the details, but Japan issues tsunami advisory for islands in eastern Japan. So if you are in that area of the world, please be safe, be careful, watch out. Tsunamis are a thing. They're not something to joke about. Okay? So please be safe to any of our Japanese listeners. PC Gamer with a really weird headline. Titanfall community predicts the future, reckons Titanfall 3 is a dead certification based on patch note hints and a Red Hot Chili Peppers song from 1999. Okay, so what's this all about? Let's see. Apparently, Titanfall players have convinced themselves that a playlist update is actually a reference to a Red Hot Chili Peppers song that is actually a reference to the inevitable upcoming announcement of something massive, probably Titanfall 3. Fans have grown more and more convinced that a big Titanfall announcement is coming ever since the second game started getting out of the blue updates again. Bugs have been fixed, playlists have been updated, and players have started flocking back. But players are convinced there's more to this than meets the eye. To be fair, they're probably right. The patch notes for those updates contain some alternate reality game style stuff that is surely hinting at something. But as spotted by Games Radar, their quest for answers might be going off the deep end a little. Not only is the Titanfall subreddit currently awash with players posting memes about their current all-consuming obsession with possible Titanfall 3 teases, one player has been driven to distraction by a feature playlist update that puts Titanfall 2's Other Side mode front and center. Other Side is also the name of a song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, so obviously Titanfall 3 is coming out. Specifically, that's because Other Side is the third song off the Red Hot Chili Peppers' seventh album. The fact that it's the third song is naturally a clear reference to the inevitable announcement of Titanfall 3. But even the fact that it's their seventh album is an indicator for those with eyes to see. Quote, Respawn has made 6 games so far. Titanfall 3 would be the third installment and their 7th game. Oh my gosh, people are crazy. And Reddit people, like, oh, come on. Nothing ever good comes out of Reddit. Like Tumblr. Nothing ever good came out of Tumblr. And nothing ever good comes out of Reddit. Reddit is a trash fire. And it's been getting more ashen as the years have gone by. Oh, goodness. NBC News, Seattle to pay almost $2 million in death of man whose address was wrongly put on 911 blacklist delaying medics' response. And there's not too many on these lists, but there is a 911 blacklist for people who have repeatedly called without needing an emergency, like prank calls or other various reasons. Usually they're pretty hefty, but sometimes mistakes happen, as in this case, and this guy didn't get the help he needed. And so his the lawsuit in for his family ended up winning $2 million, which is pretty crazy. I don't know, crazy stuff. PBS NewsHour with more. Pope Francis urges world leaders to act on climate change as planet nears point of no return. What does he know about it? To be perfectly honest, what does the Pope know about climate change? I mean, I guess he might have some guesses because Venice is slowly sinking, but that's kind of because it's built on water anyway, and it's been kind of sinking for a while, regardless of the climate. So, but the Pope isn't a scientist. He's not a science guy. He's not. What does he know about it? I don't know. IFL science, not always the most reliable of folks, but cracks in the universe. Astrophysicists may have found evidence of cosmic strings. Now that is pretty awesome. String theory is one of my favorite theories of quantum physics, and it explains so much about how we are connected with each other and with the universe, and the universe is connected to other universes and all these things. There's so much of it in there. I can't even begin to explain it to you, but it's fantastic. And if they found more evidence supporting it, I am all in. I am all in for that. String theory is awesome. I almost dropped like some bombs there. I almost like it's bourbon, awesome. Not like that, but wow. I was really excited, and I am really excited. Phys.org with more coming from this region of the world. Analysis of grinding tools reveals plant, pigment, and bone processing in Neolithic northern Saudi Arabia. So there's more coming out of this area of the world. We already know that the Middle East has a lot of ancient sites. And this is just showing more and more evidence of ancient activity. And that's cool. That's cool. Space.com. SpaceX, the Elon Musk company, poised to launch its 70th mission of the year tonight. I wonder how many more they have before the end of the year, before 2024 kicks in. Because 70 is quite a bit. Like NASA doesn't do that many in a year, I don't think. But then they do very specific large missions like the Webb telescope and the rovers and various things like that. So, hard to say. But yeah, it's cool stuff. Rock on, I suppose, SpaceX. Reuters paywall as usual. Kaiser Permanente, which is a medical services group, and unions for 75,000 striking health workers hit bargaining snag. It's been a year for strikes. It's been a year. We had the Screen Actors Guild and the writers strike. We've got the auto workers strike. Now we have these health workers strike. Man, it's crazy stuff. IGN. Now this is something interesting. It says Gearbox Hero Shooter Gigantic coming back online for one weekend only. They've had a couple of things. They had Gigantic, and they had, what was it? Bullets, not Bulletstorm. That's a different one. What was it? Bulletborn or something like that. I don't remember what it was. They had another one that was interesting. that they shut down. And I played a little bit of it, but anyway. So anyway, if you're into that, if you remember that game, because I don't think I ever played Gigantic, but if you're into that, there you go. Find out what weekend it is and play it. Reuters. North Korea halts nuclear reactor likely to extract bomb fuel report. Everybody's worried about North Korea with these missiles, but I think they're more likely to blow themselves up before they blow anybody else up. I think they'll mess it up. That's what I think is going to happen. They keep messing around like this, they're going to blow themselves up and cause some damage to that part of Asia before they manage to mess up anybody else. But who knows? Maybe they're better than I give them credit for. I doubt it. HuffPost with some clickbait, which is what HuffPost is known for. Kat Von D gets baptized after renouncing the occult. Okay, whatever. I don't know why we get so worked up about this kind of stuff. People get super upset about, oh, somebody became a Christian, a born-again Christian, oh my gosh. Or Madonna's doing the Kabbalah, and oh my gosh. And Tom Cruise is a Scientologist, oh my gosh. And it's like, who cares? Honestly, who cares? It's not a big deal. We're supposed to have religious freedom. I'm not a religious person, but I don't care what other people do as long as they're not in my face, like trying to convert me all the time. People choose to believe what they believe and do what they do, then that's up to them. It's got nothing to do with me unless they make it my business. So who knows? Engadget, if you are a Roku fan, Roku's latest update adds expert picture tuning, sports favoriting, and more. So if you are a Roku user, that's good news for you. All right? All right. Any other big news that I can lay on you guys before I say goodnight or good day, actually? Because again, daylight savings time is coming up, so maybe that'll help with my my difficulties in understanding whether it's night or day. ABC News: Georgia election case defendant seeks dismissal of charges due to prosecutors' alleged paperwork error. And you're going to see a lot of these because, again, they're trying to hit this with the RICO case, and they're going to be looking, and the defendants are going to be looking for every little thing they can do to wriggle out of it. And enough of that happens, and it could unravel the entire thing. RICO is a gamble. It's a gamble, and it may pay off or it might bite them in the backside. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not following it super close because I don't like big drama news things, but we'll see. I'll follow it a little bit. The Verge. Facebook's new AI-generated stickers are lewd, rude, and occasionally nude. What a surprise, because that's what happens with AI these days. It looks at the worst that people put out, and it emulates it. It's not true AI, it isn't, but it's good for a laugh, and this is evidence of that. I haven't seen these stickers, but I'll keep an eye out now because it sounds like it could be kind of funny. I think it could be funny. Awesome 98 out of Texas. Texas Girl Scouts announce cookie price hike. Will you still buy? Will I still buy personally? I don't know. I don't really know any Girl Scouts. My daughter isn't in that kind of thing at the moment. And I don't go and see them other places. But as far as other people, they've been increasing steadily over a number of years, and people will buy them. People will still buy them because people go nuts for the Girl Scout cookies. I mean, I like them. I like the cookies. I've had them before many times. My sisters were all in Girl Scouts when I was younger, so we constantly had them around the house around that time of year. And but I don't go out of my way to go find them and buy them up. Really, now that I've been an adult, I mean, I've only bought a couple of times, and that's usually from friends who have kids who are doing it. I'm like, oh yeah, are they selling cookies here? I'll buy a couple boxes for them. But I don't go and like look for, hey, where's the Girl Scouts going to be today? I want to buy some cookies. I don't really do that. So I mean, they are delicious, but whatever. So price hikes aren't going to really bother me too much because I won't pay too much attention. But will they bother you? What do you think? You going to pay more for those delicious, delicious cookies, or are you just going to be like, nah, enough is enough, Girl Scouts. You ain't getting my money. Big decision to make. Big decision. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's all I got for you. And I'm going to try to enjoy the rest of my day, despite it being kind of a crappy week for me. And it's not particularly looking like it's going to go up anytime soon. That's not a poor woe was me kind of thing. That's just, things have been rough around here. Things have been rough for your old buddy Spider. And that does happen in the adult world. So I hope you have a good breakfast ready for me because goodness knows I need a good, solid, hefty breakfast. Do a full English. Give me the beans and the toast and the potatoes and the tomatoes and the mushrooms and the sausage and the bacon and everything. Give me everything. I'm hungry for it. I feel like I need to glutenize myself a little bit, if you know what I mean. So, that's a lot of stuff. You better get cooking, and I'll see you soon.